Hi guys, I'm Ian with Gunmaking UK, and today we're going to be talking about red oil. So red oil is the first oil that we use in our oil finishing process. It's what really gives the stock a distinct warm colour and draws out the honey tones as well. It gives a real kind of depth to the finish, and that's what we're after. Yeah, so let's get into it and see how it goes. So here I have got this lovely 416 Rigby bolt action stock. This stock's been fully prepared for oil finishing, which means that the stock's gone through all the papers, all the burnishing with leather and rotten stone, all the mechanical fits have been checked, the wood lines have been checked, everything's crisp. So in essence, preparation all done, and now we're going to start the oil finishing. That's where the red oil comes in, so let's get into it. So this is my bottle of red oil. I've had this probably for about 10, 12 years. As you can tell, it's seen a bit of action, and this one lives on the bench, but underneath here we have this big tub. So this is where the red oil is made. Just this, super simple. So red oil really is one of the most simple oils we use. People, they like to make out, as with all things gun making, especially with stock finishing, they like to make out that it's this crazy unique thing that nobody knows the secrets of, but red oil especially is incredibly simple. So what it's made from is alkanet root, which I have to just check the pronunciation of, and raw linseed oil. There's not any specific ratios that you have to use, especially because it's made by just soaking, which means the ratios are kind of irrelevant. It just really builds up over time. So one super important thing with red oil is raw linseed oil. Reason being, raw linseed oil won't dry. So it's not finishing oil. You're not trying to make it go hard. You're not trying to make it go tacky. You're literally using it to colour the woodwork. So what you don't want to do is put it on overnight and come into a nightmare in the morning when you've got to start scrubbing it all off again. Raw linseed oil won't dry in the same way. So that's why raw linseed oil is what we use to make the red oil.
So there's no specific or absolute quantities when you're using red oil like this. You want a good amount on there. You don't want so much that's going to drip off. You don't want to be making a mess of your workshop, or even worse if you're doing it at home, making a mess of your kitchen. But you want a good amount. So I'm just kind of dip your finger in the lid there, get it on there, and you want to really be able to feel it moving around on the surface. You want a good amount. Not so much it's going to drip off, but a good amount. So although we do use the raw linseed oil, so it's not going to dry, but at the same time, I still don't want to fill my checkering up with it, because in essence, you're going to have to clean it out. So what we're going to do, we'll get a nice thick coat on like this, and we're going to leave it overnight to soak in, and then we're going to come back to it in the morning, and then we're going to really buff off any residue with some rotten stone and leather. And we'll probably, this is a fairly blonde piece of wood, so probably end up repeating the process 4 or 5 times for this one. It's to your preference, but for me, if you want to get that real kind of traditional London look, you do really want to get a bit of red oil in there, and a good amount. Once your red oil is soaked overnight, the majority of it's going to go into the wood, but then you're going to find that there'll be a little bit of patches where it's not quite gone in, and that's absolutely fine. That's normally what's supposed to happen. So what we'll do now is we'll put some rotten stone on there, and we'll kind of burnish it with leather. And then this is a process that's going to be repeated quite a few times, depending on the coloration you really want to end up with. But rotten stone, in essence, it's kind of like a fossilized clay. So it's just a real mild abrasive, and this is how we use it. So kind of scrape it onto the stock like so. And then what we'll do is we'll get our leather, make sure she's snug in the vise, and then we'll really kind of give it a good burnish in there. So let's say it's just a mild abrasive, and that's just polishing the surface, getting rid of any little bits of red oil that have been left from that coat, and helping to polish the surface of the wood at the same time. So polish it with leather, get there with the palm of your hand, really buff it. All this stuff makes a world of difference when you come to finish the stock. The stock finish itself is a job, but the preparation is absolutely key. The better the prep, the better finish is going to end up. So rinse and repeat. So tonight before we go home, we'll put some more red oil on there, and we'll repeat the same thing tomorrow until we get the colour we want. So this stock is really coming up towards the end of the oil finishing process now, but what we're really looking at is the colour underneath. So, you know, the grain's filled, it's going to be shiny on the next few coats, but what we're really looking at is the tone of that colour underneath, and that's what we're trying to get. Once you get that colour right at the start of your oil finish, it's going to end up fantastic. That's the foundation to it all. And there you go.